Hi everyone, my name is Raquel Lane-Arellano. I'm a current junior at Stanford, and I'm going to read you a poem called Broken English, dedicated to my mother. Sitting at a restaurant in Palo Alto, I hear the slurred, butchered Spanish from well-meaning, drunk white folks. As they swirl their margaritas, one lady calls to her friends, "Hey, what's that thing Mexicans do? Arriba." She lifts her glass in an attempt to toast, but for the life of her cannot remember the rest of it. I am sitting 2 tables away. I restrain myself from 1, helping her appropriate my culture, and 2, showing her how to actually pronounce these words that obviously hold little meaning to her. Instead, I turn my focus to the bartender. An older man in his 40s, he is composed. Rather than correct her terrible accent, he gives in. With a fake, at-your-service smile, he picks up a glass from the bar. "Arriba, abajo, pa' centro y pa' dentro," he sings. Entertained, the drunken white folks, excited to put on this piece of culture for a moment, recite his words, with their inevitably American accents, laughing as they accessorize his culture. As I sit there, I begin to wonder how the man must feel. Paid to work with drunks on a daily basis, but not just any drunks. Rich Palo Alton wasps, he is in an interesting position here. For as the keeper of their liquid courage, he plays audience to their shameless rants. When political correctness is out, when these people lose the filter that keeps them from saying what they really think, he's here waiting, patiently of course, with his at-your-service smile, saving them from my smirky remarks 2 tables down. I wonder what would happen if you asked bartenders in the US if they believed in racism. Perhaps just bartenders of color, because here, serving shots of liquid courage to well-meaning white folks, he is front stage to the new genre of racism, the kind that coats itself in language. Like camouflage, it blends in with this post-race world white supremacy has created for itself. This cover comes at a price, but because we don't see it, we pretend it doesn't exist. The well-meaning white folks leave their dinner, and the cost of this interaction goes on tab for the minorities whose cultures they borrow, whose language they butcher, because white people don't have to think about race. For those who are not privileged enough to ignore it, for those whose cultures are picked apart, borrowed, and simplified for the entertainment and ease of well-meaning white folks, the existence of racism is unquestionable. The only problem now is identifying it. Like a trick magician, it appears from the mist, in school, at the store, in the media, in a Palo Alto restaurant. It comes for an instant, blinds you and leaves you with a feeling of unease. You're left feeling like you've been wronged and you don't know why. Is it really racist to appropriate cultures? You're taking this too far. These people mean well. It's not their fault they have accents. They didn't grow up speaking Spanish. And just like that, the magician has completed his trick. Perhaps you might recognize the presence of some semi-racist act, but the real accomplishment of a post-race mentality here is that you internally undermine all of your gut feelings. We are taught to find excuses for our white friends. Oh, they just don't know any better. She didn't mean it like that. They mean well. We hide behind these excuses. Biting our lips 2 tables away, hiding behind half smiles, we let them have it, most of the time. Another one under the belt for white supremacy. Even in my own home, I see the power of language come into play. My father is white and my mother is Mexican, but it wasn't until later in life that I began to recognize the ways in which my hybridity has left marks on my experiences growing up. My first memory as a child is caking spoonfuls of frijoles onto the mouth of my stuffed Barney, as my cousin Sandra, our babysitter, bustled around the house, swinging and singing to the rhythm of Selena Quintanilla. Sandra is new to the States. At the age of 15, she made her way to the US caminando. Por el río she walked, taking with her all her hopes and aspirations, following the footsteps of her family, of my mother. Sandra doesn't speak English very well, so she practices with my siblings and I. As we watch Barney, Teletubbies, and Pokemon, she is paying close attention, trying to absorb each piece of culture, each phrase, each word, trying to find her entry ticket into this American world that still feels so foreign to her. She speaks to us mostly in Spanish, inserting English sentences as often as she can. En las noches, she attends night school. For her GED and clases de inglés, she listens, learns how to pronounce foreign-sounding English words, soaks in strange accents, She listens because she cannot afford to miss any piece. Language is a currency. My siblings and I are lucky, but we don't realize it yet. Not then anyways. Because we carry the outward appearance of our father. Because we are güeritos, we are not subject to the same discrimination my cousins Tias and mother face. Language, like skin tone, is a currency, and currently Spanish is coming in last. When people see my mother, when they see my cousins, they expect less. See dark skin and think criminal, maid, nanny, janitor. As Latinos, we have been perpetuated into the state of an eternal immigrant. Language is a currency. Latinos cannot afford broken English. In my house, we play a game. Like Monopoly almost, but not quite. Birthed in our American privilege, switch the properties with English words, the kind that fumble off the lips of immigrants, turn intellectual giants into ants. Language is a currency, broken English pays in pennies. Monopoly for the monolinguistic turns immigrants into one-dimensional caricatures, grounds them in their insecurities. It starts like this. Mom, how do you say Mitsubishi? A look of apprehension comes across her face. It's a trap, she thinks. No sé. Mom, say it. No. Please. Ay, mija, tengo vergüenza. Mami, por favor. Fine. Mr. Bishi. This is our banter. From as early as I can remember, as children it was funny. My mother's broken English. We showcased her to our friends, called her cute as if it were a sincere compliment. Condescending children. My father never learned Spanish. He was never made vulnerable in the same way. He didn't have to, and he chose not to. I learned to make a joke of Spanish accents, of my own people, and I can't help but wonder where I learned this. Perhaps from the mock Spanish that permeates our TV shows, that bellows from my father's voice, that hangs in the air from 2 tables away. You see, we were taught to think of language in one form, pure. Raised by a colonial history and society to think of English as the natural dominant, Spanish as second, but what I failed to see were the contradictions. My white friends giggled as they shamelessly mispronounced Spanish tongues, hola, ¿cómo estás?, not knowing that they were mindlessly contributing to a system, an idea, that Spanish, the language of my people, my heritage, my mom, was a joke. Mindlessly I played along too, not knowing that my mother's English would forever be seen as broken, so long as her mother tongue was not seen as equal, broken English. As I look at my mother, I see her scars. This broken English has left marks on her, just under the skin, pero yo lo veo. A city of streets mapping their roots to her insecurities, remnants of every time someone laughed at her English. Of each moment her intelligence was questioned. Of each time my siblings and I played our white American privilege against her. Of each time we used her struggle with English as entertainment. Her dignity taken, stolen by the colonial past that we so frequently wish out of our colonial present. This broken English, like shards of broken glass, has cut deep into the skin of my family. Our Chicana skin, sacando mi sangre, you see, no es lo mismo. It's not the same. Cuando yo hablo español, no one comments me equivocas. You speak well, they say. The part left unsaid. For a white girl. They see me as white, therefore exempt from the need to speak Spanish correctly. Tienes un acento muy bueno. ¿Dónde aprendiste a hablar español? In school, they think. But the truth leaves me sin palabras. Tengo vergüenza. I don't want to say from my mother, porque admitting this out loud, I feel guilty. To have spent 18 years at home only to emerge with español quebrado, broken Spanish. Head down, eyes averted. De mi mamá, I say. They look at me in surprise, but the assertion remains the same. Bien español para una güerita, good Spanish for a white girl. We've internalized this linguistic hierarchy, giving allowances for those on the privileged sociolinguistic end. Pero ya no más. I can no longer accept my Spanish, mi español quebrada, when I see the implications every day. Cuando hablo con mi mamá, I speak in Spanish, porque no quiero hacerle daño. I don't want to hurt her anymore. I want to meet her on the same ground, la misma tierra, to give her her chance, her right to be seen as equal, to speak in a language that empowers her, because my mother's English will forever be seen as broken. As long as well-meaning white folks shamelessly mispronounce Spanish words, as long as high school students do not respect Spanish classes, and as long as her children play games with her linguistic insecurities, my mother's English will always be seen as broken so long as her mother tongue is not seen as equal. Language is a currency, and she cannot afford broken English.